Hello everyone, I had a bit of inspiration this evening. What I've decided to do is I'm actually going to write a 4-page paper or a 4 to 5 page paper for you guys, and I do realize that sometimes it can feel overwhelming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you how I would go about writing this paper. Obviously I'm not going to do Secret of the Andes versus Charlotte's Web because that's what you're doing. So what I've decided to do is I went ahead and I read the Lorax and I read Sneetches, and I'm going to go ahead and do one for you all based on these books. And keep in mind, this is my first draft. I'm only doing a first draft. I hope you enjoy this. I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please make sure that you get in touch with me. Okay? Here we go. How might I go about doing this time? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to format this thing, lines and spacing. We're going to double it up because everything that you do in this class is always going to be double space. Okay? And I'm going to just leave it as the default for Chrome, which is Arial 11. You can go up to 12 if you'd like to. That's absolutely fine. So how might I go about tackling this assignment? Well, the first thing I'm probably going to do is come up with some sort of outline that's going to help me get started. So obviously a regular paper is going to have an intro, body, and conclusion. Can't even type conclusion. So with a conclusion and an intro, there's going to be some similarities in there. Try not to get in the habit of actually just copying this and throwing it there because that's not good. You want to summarize your thoughts in here. I'm going to focus on the body first because I'm comparing two stories. I'm sort of doing a comparing and contrasting, plus I'm giving my review on them. That's similar to the assignment that you're doing. So what I might do is say the Lorax. We're going to do a review, and I'm going to give my opinion, and there's summaries too. So here's summary. So this isn't spelled correctly, but you know this is a rough draft, and that's okay. So obviously you're going to be doing more revisions as time goes on when you're doing these things. So since this is a compare and contrast that we're going to be doing, I'm going to do similarities, okay, differences, and then which book is better. Get to 2 T's in there. This is sort of a parallel to your Secret of the Andes versus Charlotte's Web. You're giving your thoughts on each book, do a little review, a little summary on each one. This shows you how my brain works with ADHD. I took summary and turned it into summer. I don't know how that happened. It's just how that's how my brain rolls. So anyway, similarities, differences, which book is better. In my particular case, I'm not going to try to come up with an idea for how they won the Newbery because neither one of these won the Newbery. You can give your thoughts on that. You don't have to do any research on that. You don't have to do any citations for this particular assignment unless you're going to go back in the book and grab a quote out of it. I know which 2 you're using because you've read both of them, so you don't have to go and put a bunch of citations in there unless you're stealing something specifically. So let's see how I might go about doing this because we want to try to get to 4 to 5 pages. If you try to tackle a 4 or 5 page paper, just doing the 4 to 5 page paper, it will feel like a bear, especially the first couple of times you're doing these kinds of things. I think if you were to break it up and do something like this, where you're kind of just splitting it, it's a really nice way for you to kind of keep yourself organized. So what I like to do if I make an outline like this, and this is a very simple one, as I go through each one, I'm going to delete it because it's going to be done. So I'm going to get rid of body because this stuff is the body down here. But let's go ahead and get started and see what we come up with. And keep in mind, I just want to point out this is a rough draft. You want to go back and you would italicize these and do all that stuff later on. I'm not going to be doing that for the purposes of this. This is a first draft just to try to get myself to that 4 to 5 page range. This is one of those times I got to find out how he actually spells that. I can't remember how they spell Wunstler. It's something like that. It is Wunstler. I got it right. Okay. Ah, look at that. We're almost to a page. Okay, let's keep going. I think at this point what I'm actually going to do, I've come to realize that my review and my opinion are kind of the same thing, and that's absolutely fine. I think I'm just going to do that because it looks like I'm going to be able to get enough length from this with just this and getting into this because we're getting into page 2 now, so I don't want to actually do more than I have to because it's only a 4 to 5 page paper, so we're going to go from there. We're on to the Sneetches. I just want to point out something really quick in writing. I'm going to want to change this when I get down there, the final version of the paper. You don't want all your paragraphs to start off the same. You don't want them both start with snaches, but both start with the snaches. So just makes the flow look nicer. I'm just going to check the story really quick to find out who that guy was. Even though I just read this, I can't remember his name. Sylvester McMonkey McBean. Okay, so this actually is my Sneetches summary, and my Sneetches review is going to be right here. So, like I was saying, I'm getting rid of this as I'm doing it. Alright, so there's my quick review or opinion of that. So now let's start getting into similarities and differences, and just based on memory from what I can remember, we're going to keep going. A couple similarities. I think I'm going to stop at 2 big similarities because I'm kind of feeling like that's going to help me get to 4. I can come back to it later if I feel like I need to get some more though. Let's get into differences. So this is where I'm actually running into a brain fart. I'm not really sure which one I want to do. So I'm just going to take a look at some of the pages that are in here. And for the notes, you might, for your books, with Secret Answers and Charlotte, you might just kind of like look back and spin through the pages, see if there's any illustrations or something that spark like an idea for you. Okay, so I'm not going to go any further because this is already at about 45 plus minutes that I've been working on this, but I wanted to show you just how possible this really is. Okay, we are. How many pages are we on? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm actually on page 6 right now. So in 45 minutes, I was able to bust out 6 pages. And the way I'm able to do that is through making myself a nice little outline. I'm kind of following along, and like you saw I was doing, I was cutting those things out as I was going along. Plus, I'm a pretty fast typer. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm a pretty quick typer. You probably heard me typing away. So it might take you a little bit longer as you're going. And if you're new to doing these papers, don't be mad at yourself if it takes time. It does take time to get good at this. When I was in my first year of college, in terms of having a paper that might be 4 or 5 pages long, they might show up in a particular class maybe once, twice tops. And that's about all I would see. If I can remember correctly, I mean, most of my classes might have only had one that really got that far. Each year I went through the programs, it got more and more complex and tougher. I do remember personally getting into my last year of my bachelor's and 5-page papers where you do a few of them a week. It wasn't that bad. So it seems tough now, but you're going to get good at these, and they're going to get easier for you as time goes on. Again, don't tackle it all at once. Tackle it in pieces. Do it in chunks. This is possible. You definitely are capable of doing this, and I don't want you to feel like you have to follow this model exactly. I think it's important for you to understand that you can go your own way too. If you've decided to make your compare and contrast of Secret of the Andes and Charlotte's Web without doing a summary of the stories, that's fine. You can do it without summaries. The reason I'm giving you the opportunity to throw a couple summary paragraphs in there is if you're having trouble trying to get to that length. So give that some thought. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to email me. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing these. I'm really excited because I know you guys have some good thoughts. One more thing I want to point out is that this is a rough draft. If you'll notice, I haven't gone through and fixed anything. This is just a rough one I kind of just threw together to show you guys what's possible, and it's just one way you can go about doing this assignment. So obviously, even though it took me this long to do this, this is not the end. I would go back and I would revise this. I'm a big fan of you coming back and revising something after a day. I know it's good to walk away for 10 minutes, but if you walk away for a day, then you come back, you're going to have some really good ideas on how to improve this. So I hope this helps, and y'all take care. So just a couple of reminders. Please make sure that you're breaking this up into bits and pieces. If you'll notice, I created a little outline for myself. And it wasn't a complex outline, it was just a simple one. And as I went along, I kind of just did each thing. There's no way I could have written it that fast or been able to come up with those ideas on the fly if I didn't have an outline guiding me. It made it really easy for those ideas just to flow. If you're the kind of person who does struggle with writer's block, and even when I was doing it, there was a couple of times when I kind of was like, having those little prompts really helps. So create that little outline for yourself. It only took me a minute or two, I think, to make the outline. And if you took a look at as the way I was able to flow through it, if I hadn't stayed organized like that, it probably would have taken me at least twice as long to do it, because I wonder, well, what did I do? What haven't I done? By just deleting them as I was doing them, I knew what I had gotten done. Had I needed more length, I could have come back to one of those paragraphs and maybe just added something to it. Or in the case of this one, I'm going to delete a little bit, get back down to 4 or 5 pages. I might have said more than I needed to. Like, for example, I think one of my differences wasn't too good. I can probably get rid of one of those. And maybe when I go through and I edit it, it's going to get tuned down anyway, because I'll find some spots where I made mistakes and whatnot. I'm going to upload it as is onto our website on Blackboard so you guys can see what a first draft looks like. And you're going to probably see grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes. I didn't italicize things. It should be italicized. There might be spots where I might want to go back and cite, because I did actually grab the books a couple of times, you'll notice, to like look something up, like a character's name. I don't have a good memory, so I often need those kinds of prompts. I have the memory of a goldfish, so for me it was very, very helpful to have the books right on hand. So for example, if you're thinking of something from Secret of the Andes and you can't remember a character's name, you can just pop back in really quick and take a look to see who that person was. So I hope this has helped, and I look forward to reading these papers. I get really excited about this one.